Lily, my,
Ugh.
Lily, my lady. You realize there's the amount of people who are going to be, well, hopefully following those links and have their lives ruined next week by Lily Marlene, by JJ Tull haunting their, like, haunting.
I have to say, like, it is actually like fucking Lovecraft, as in once you hear it, it's gonna start upsetting you, and you will want to upset other people that you know. Like,
So I would say, please try and upset anyone you live with, the loved ones in your life, family, friends, whoever it is who's in the crossfire, unintended, get involved in upsetting them because I haven't managed to upset enough people with some of these releases yet, but I'm going to. Like I've sent the links
well,
out.
absolutely, because I think what you want is you want an absolute response from people. The
Yeah,
worst thing that can happen is somebody you will send it to them and they'll go, you
yeah,
know, you want somebody to be like, no, no, you have to sit down and tell me what you think of the cover of this record, like, you know.
yeah. The best way is, I think, maybe at a gathering, interrupting a serious conversation or a meaningful conversation with something as a pretext for something even more important, and then just play them the whistling bit in Kalashnikov. Try and like not only irritate and annoy and upset people because you're interrupting a deep, meaningful conversation, but with this. That's what I would. That's what I plan. Sometimes I plan these things for ages, and I go,
Well, how meaningful could it be if it's not worth interrupting with Lily Marlene by JJ Tull? Like,
or the
the fact the band's called JJ Tull, like it's as if they're really, really, really done a lot of market research into what they want. They're like, okay, so it's like a fucking a super topic. Want people who like the idea of rock and roll and 80s-ness, but they also want it to be in some way what progressive. Did you listen to any of the other songs? No.
yeah, I did. I was left baffled, but also kind of like there's some level of musicianship, but it sounds like oi punk mixed with sort of, as I said, German Schlager, but with sort of 1920s sort of. Uh, it's called review, as if it's supposed to be like a sort of it's a review kind of,
Well, that's what the album cover is like, you know. But
but it's a rock review,
again,
which is, I mean,
yeah, it's like also a 16-year-old's version of the album cover. And like, you guys kind of sidestepped that a little bit in Primordial. We didn't. Like, I think we did the first demo cover and the second demo cover were by Philly, and then the album cover was by a guy who lived around the corner for the first record, you know.
yeah,
And
yeah.
but I think that's the whole deal. I remember talking to the guys in Artillery, and they said that Noise Records were just like, yeah, well, like, you know, we don't have any money for the cover for Terror Squad, so you just should, you know, ask one of your friends, can they do it? And they were like, okay, right, we'll do that.
But I mean, with artillery is like you could ask a mate who could draw though. Like it's what I like about those covers is it's clear that no one has enough understanding or taste to go,
Yeah.
hey, that you can't draw. Get you okay? Try and draw something like EXE stricken by might, the muscle bound guy with the huge muscles just pulling apart with the like reptilian mask. Like it's brilliant because I obviously saw that one. This is the cover.
This rocks though,
This is
because
amazing.
they could see all the boxes being ticked. They're like muscly man, swords, people
Yeah,
being having their head chopped off. Like, I
yeah.
think I sent you those Violator t-shirts that
Oh yeah,
it's the best thing ever. One of them is like a tank that is shooting flames out of its dick and then eating people who are on fire. And then the other one is like a cool robot man who's very, very muscly. Obviously, it has to be said, this is the pretext for anything that is going on. You have to be intensely muscly, and he's obviously half a tank as well, and he's got
always
swords for arms.
it always the cover of battle hymns. I know it's low hanging fruit, but it always fascinated me that the eagle was quite muscular in a sort of like male, like human
It's an
way.
American eagle, like, you know.
Sure, but he's got a cute, like a very muscly man's body, not like a bird's body, because he's an eagle, obviously. So it's
Yep.
got like, do you know what I mean? But like little, then perchy feet underneath it. It's kind of, I stared at that for quite a long time when I was a kid.
I have to say I didn't. Like, it was one of those things that, like, I think whenever I heard or saw the music or saw the cover and heard the music rather,
Oh, synesthesia. Mm-hmm. Yeah, go on.
I don't know. It felt like you knew that it was not going to be an extremely high quality production. Like, and it's not like I don't think the battle hymns. It's probably actually one of their better 80s productions, but
I
it
think
just
it sounds
sounds
great. I think it sounds
sounds
amazing.
crazy. Like, you know,
No,
it's
I think
just a
it's like,
very individual. It sounds actually a bit like you know, like Another Day on the Funny Farm or whatever, you know, the Motorhead album, Another
for the
Perfect Day.
perfect day, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Well, I
that
mean,
vibe.
Battle Hymn Side 2 is more or less the creation of epic metals. You know what I mean? Battle Hymns that bring, like the open chord riff underneath it. I mean, that's fucking groundbreaking. All Side 2, Dark Avenger. I knew this dopey lad in the pub years ago in the 90s, and he was like, I fucking hate that band, man. I said, why? He goes, that the fucking Protestant song. I go, what are you
Oh,
talking
are you talking about Hail to England? Are
about?
you?
No, no, not that. No, it's even
That's
stupider than
probably
that.
what it is.
It's even stupider than that. He was like, that fucking, and we call on Protestants fucking song. And I said, partisans. And he was like, what? I said, partisans, not Protestants. We call on partisans to raise your hand and make a stand in the field we grew till we all knew. And he was convinced for like, since 80, whatever it was, that was, we call upon Protestants to raise your hand. And I was like, no, partisans. What the fuck is
Is there
that?
something though to be said about this man in regard to, like, obviously this guy was listening but not buying, or like if you, or I guess there are people who buy records and just don't read the lyrics.
Oh, he was just a dopey cunt. But
Yeah,
like, he
whereas
just,
like you would say nowadays, most of the time on Spotify, most of the records do not have synced lyrics, so you can't, like, you're probably sticking something on to listen to and then going to Metal Archive to try and find the lyrics for, you know, Avenger or whatever it is, or
well,
Atomcraft,
but it's just the
or
fact that
any
he,
of the great neat bands you could possibly be
yeah,
listening to,
but
like, you
it's
know.
just that for years, he hated Manowar over a misheard word. Protestants and partisans. And it's clear it's not Protestants, but he just didn't know the word partisans. It
Well,
wasn't
I think he's going to be that way, possibly, if I can.
about anything,
He's
man.
going to have, yeah, like the idea that they have an album called "Hail to England" is probably
Yeah,
going
he
to annoy
wasn't very
a
happy
lot
with
more
that.
than them referencing Protestants,
He
like, you
wasn't very
know.
happy with that either. But
Being like, it's a class album, but I fucking hate the bastards.
yeah, he was just like, fucking Protestants, man. Fucking hell, like, they're called,
So,
that's
like, you know, part of the thing, like, we are talking about like bands who are making albums for labels. Really, it's not bands who are, like, you know, self entities. They're created by labels or whatever. Should we talk a bit about, you know, bands that are essentially side projects, or, like, you know,
yeah.
Frontiers Records
Oh, yeah,
will,
yeah.
they'll try and put a band together, or like back in the day you would have got a thing where, like, the Gary Moore band or ELP or whatever, the idea was, let's try and get three or four really talented people in a room together.
Yeah.
Now
I
there
think,
is probably there's a very natural version of that, which is stuff like Cream or Jimi Hendrix, where they were saying these guys would play great together, let's get them together. And then there's the more, you know,
well, I think that, like, for some of the things on, like, the bands who are on Frontiers who are, it's going to be Jeff Scott Soto, Mike Portnoy, Mark Portnoy. Oh, that's his brother. Um, whoever else, Billy Sheehan, I don't know. All people who, in their own right, could do a instrument. Like, if they came to do an instrument symposium, would pull a few hundred people or something or other, put them all together. They can tour. Mostly, they'll get huge crowds in Poland, Hungary, Bulgaria, blah blah blah. But they can all make their living then per year by doing an album and a tour, and then they sell like a cracked cymbal with a thing on it for €200 and lessons per day, and so they can all. That's their cash cow, but they're just going to put together. There's one
it's
called
part of the thing though, like,
one of
is
Cyrus
the
or something, or there's one with um, I don't know, you know what I mean?
is part of the thing though, like, we should be the target audience for this. It should be
Oh
people who are like, wow, Dave Ellefson played on this, cool, I'm gonna go and check this out.
no, no, I see.
But
I
that's
think
that's not how it actually works, really,
no,
is it?
see, I think you're wrong. I think what it is, it's supreme musicians. It's prog, kind of like nerd prog people who like to, it's Mike Portnoy. There's one which is
Are you
Mike
thinking of Mike
Portnoy.
Mangini?
Who knows what I'm thinking about? Um, Billy Sheehan, Jeff Scott Soto. So each one of them
Yeah,
is
yeah.
like the top of their field musician wise, and they play and they do their little solo bits. And you'd hardly call David Ellison like a prog bass player. So I think it's to do with prog
I think
music.
he's very competent though, like,
Sure, oh, he's a great
in
bass player. But
terms of,
that's not what I mean. Is like it's this particular thing is about musicians at the top of their game, at the top of their field. That people go to marvel at their dexterity. Whereas if you
Well,
put,
because that was a thing in the 70s, right?
yeah,
So, like,
sure,
basically, if you were any member of Thin Lizzy or Foghat or Rainbow or whatever,
Foghat.
you would have an option with your label to say, right, I want to make a solo album and I'm going to go and get whoever.
Isn't Foghat the band who that the music for originally that was the music for what's that famous driving program everybody liked with Clarkson and all that kind of stuff?
I do not know. You're thinking of Top Gear, but I don't
Here,
know what song you're thinking of.
April's modern cultural reference points are a bit confused for like the last 30, 40 years. But yeah, they've not Foghat that also one of the worst names for a band ever, Foghat.
Foghat. Well, you're missing a trick if you're not a Foghat fan.
No,
But
they're probably all right, but like yeah.
I don't know, they're a good band. They're one of those bands as well, bizarrely, where you're like, I presume they're from California, but they're from Scotland or whatever. Look.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, but like I was saying, that generally back in the day,
sidetracked by Foghat. What other podcast is sidetracked by a Foghat riff into
interlude.
Yeah, and then back to none. This is what young people
no
are crying out
Foghat
for.
references for the rest of the episode. Look,
Yeah.
It'll be a slow ride getting this done.
That's it. It's on a slow ride. Yeah, I see what you do. Right, go on then.
But yeah, we were just talking about how back in the 70s, bands would have options for records, or even like someone like Nuclear Assault, they all released solo albums of horrendous degrees, didn't they? Like, CIA and John Conley Theory and Brutal Truth and whatnot. Or
yeah, there was one called Hot Sauce. I love first Brutal Truth. I love them, but that's fucking great. But yeah, CIA, Hot Sauce. Yeah, it was a kind of thrash metal thing.
This is a different thing, though, isn't it? Like, because this is not like the whole thing with frontiers type supergroups. It's not bands getting together. It's people from labels saying, "Here, let's get these guys to do this because it." Well, maybe that's the same as Hendrix.
It's also because the artists involved have big reputations as being the best in their field, and they all have their own audiences. And if you put them all together, I mean, like, if you're a real muso, are you going to go and watch a band with, I don't know, let's say Buckethead with Jess Scott Soto singing and Mark Anthony on the drums? Or you probably are if you're because people forget the amount of people out there who will go and see guitar player type virtuoso stuff. Is
I go and see some of that sort of stuff. Like I went to go and see the Aristocrats, and they were great.
What's that? Is that not a cartoon?
No, it's like that's
the Aristocats.
Mike Mangini, the drummer, and your man, the guitar player. From
Mike Mangini.
But anyway, they're grand. But I can see where it is. It's one of those things where, like, instrumental music. Would you go and see Steve Vai? Maybe not.
I'd rather stick.
Would you go and see Mr. Big? Yeah, you probably would. Look,
Maybe I'd rather. I can't stand things like that. Like that. I'd rather pull my stick things under my fingernails and go see Joseph Trent.
That can be arranged.
Yeah, it can be arranged, and you don't go and see the gig either. Yeah, I'm just not my. No, I'd rather. No, anyway, but I do understand that for some of those musicians, I suppose, you have to do something, and maybe for people who like that stuff, that maybe Born of Osiris or whatever it is a good record. I don't really know if it's good or not. But there was one band with Billy Sheehan and a bunch of other people and stuff. So
I find actually, like, I'm a big, massive Mr. Big fan, and I love Billy Sheehan's playing. But he's one of those guys that like his. Sorry,
you're a big Mr. Big fan. Couldn't think of another word. You couldn't think of another word.
Big Mr. Big fan. A large Mr. Big fan.
There you go. Right. Oh yeah, what's his name? The guitar player.
Paul Gilbert.
I like
Racer X.
Yeah. I like Racer X, yeah. There you go. All right. Yeah.
Your man, the bass player from the used to be our rep for Charvel's. He's in Mars Volta these days, so he is.
Really? Yeah. I really like what is it, D-Louse in the Crematorium? Big fan of that.
But I can't even remember what we're talking about. Yeah, I don't know why we're talking about Mr. Big and how awesome.
What we were talking about was put together bands of musicians. I mean, I kind of like the idea of it. I mean, it's not. I mean, I've done albums with other, like.
Well, Twilight of the Gods, I guess, was a bit of. But you guys come up with that. That wasn't a label. Didn't say, by the way, do you want to go and do this?
No, that was done. That reason Twilight of the Gods was done for a bet. friend of mine
Yep.
said, it's 20 years since Hammer Heart and all these records. Why don't you do a Primordial show where you play Hammer Heart? I said, I could never get them to do that. And then we're just drinking, and he just said, oh, why don't you put together a band? And I just thought, all right, I'll do it. I sent out a few texts, and we got a band together. Then we made an album, which I still think is a really good album. But
Did you guys do the covers first though? As in, you just went
yeah,
around and did a series of festivals doing the covers, and then
yeah,
said, right, let's do a record.
yeah. We were doing, but we weren't doing the old black metal battle. We were doing Shores and Flames, Valhalla, Under the Rooms, To Enter Your Mountain, the hard stuff. And it was me, Runa, who was in Mayhem, Broda from Einherjar, Patrick from Fearfing originally, who then was replaced with Anton from Pentagram in Chile, Criminal Brujeria,
Mm-hmm.
awesome dude, and also Pentagram 87. Stop for
See,
a
that's what we should have done with
moment.
metal. The Metal Salvage band, man. We should have went and done a bunch of gigs, and then because do you remember AFM said, right, do you want to go and record a bunch of these songs? And we were like, not particularly, like, you know.
Um, it's. I think that I felt like, especially the Twilight Gods record, I think it's very. I like the record a lot. I still think it's a good record, but it was really out of step with at the time. What was in was this, kind of mustachio, cheekbone, new British heavy metal style thing, and we were like, don't. We were playing sort of like Man-O-War-y, big, sort of big heavy metal, like 80s clunky, Tear Headless Cross style. And it was totally out of sync with what was happening. And the tour, we did a tour with Rotting Christ. I love Rotting Christ to death, but it didn't work. We should have really been playing with fucking Hammerfall or something. I don't know.
Yep.
Or
More power metally.
something like that might have worked. It was great to do, and it was a real challenge. Like, I don't know, have you made a few things with other people and stuff,
It is definitely nice getting out of the box, man, and doing things with other people. But it's weird. Like, I always feel that even though it seems like a long time between records, there always seems to be a gestation period that like takes up a lot of your creative time. Like, you know, so like for instance, you guys have had a record that just came out, and we have a record coming out next month.
Yeah.
But like, I honestly don't feel as if there is like a year's time to go and make a record with somebody else at the minute. Like, you know.
Really?
No, but I do like I'll like freelance out songs, and I've done that a couple of times with other bands and stuff
Really?
like that.
What?
But
Explain that. What's you've sort of?
as in writing songs for other bands, like wrote a couple of songs for Agent Steel and
Mm.
the guys from DAM. I did a bit of stuff with them and did a thing with SSS, you know, the
Oh
punk
yeah,
band
yeah,
from
yeah. They had a
Liverpool.
thing for a while. Yeah, I remember them.
Yeah, did that for a while. There's another band for Visceral Attack, but you know, it's one of those things that I don't know. It always feels like you give 110% to the main thing, and you're nearly dealing with stuff that you would cast off. Like, even though, like, whenever you did the thing with your cousin, you know,
Yeah, the
yeah,
electronic. Yeah.
the electronic thing,
Mm.
I thought that was great, and it was a cool change of pace because
Yeah.
that sort of stuff wouldn't have necessarily worked with Primordial.
No, no,
But
no. Well,
it's
the thing about it is that at least with Dread Sovereign, Vermin, Servant, April, Men, that's me playing the bass, whereas of course, Primordial is just me singing, and that's a whole different, just a completely different paradigm when you're being
do you
involved with
find that
it.
if you're playing bass,
And
you will write the lyrics to fit into the bass playing?
well, the way April Men was like, I would do the bass lines, and I would just go to Garrett's studio, and I would stand in his room. He had this analog studio with all these synths. You were there, I think, and I would just go dun 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 or whatever I was doing, and he just like a wizard, just like, and he just like all of a sudden, and he's making a song around my loop, and I have to stand
Yep.
there playing the same riff for sometimes for 20 minutes, which of course makes me better at going from a shitty 3 or 4 out of 10 to maybe, oh, okay, you got to keep in time with it. And he would just structure a song, and then he would chop it up and make it into things. But I would make up the bass. But same with Dread Sovereign, writing on the bass. But Primordial is a completely other thing, where I don't go into Primordial and go, hey, Kieran, here's my fucking riff. Even though every now and again I come up with a riff and Dread Sovereign, I go, oh, I could work with Primordial. It's no point fixing, like me trying to go, hey, Kieran, who in my opinion is a fucking genius anyway. It's just like, hey, here's my and he might,
Yep.
he would, I know he would humor me and go, oh, all right. And he might actually take a bit, but what's the point, So
Is that a two-way street in the sense that if you were if he was suggesting lyrics to you, would you be like grand, or
oh
does
no,
is not really happen?
no way. He's way back in the beginning of the band, he tried to write some lyrics, and then he just, the honest dude that he is, he just went, it's just not mine. It's just not, that's not my thing. So he doesn't clock into what the lyrics are until afterwards. Over the years, I've learned to not like. There's a couple of songs. There's one song on Journey's End, the second album from '97, which is called "Bitter Harvest," and the music doesn't match the lyrics at all. The lyrics are fucking horrendous, great, awful black metal nihilism, and I mean awful in the sense that's what they were supposed to be. And his song was this sort of pagan, sunrise over the landscape type song, and he even has the word, the C word in it somewhere. It's like, oh, this isn't good. But it's 97, so you're like 22, 23, you're at loggerheads. Whereas now I would be much more mindful of trying to, for the last 20 years, trying to make my bits fit with what he's doing. I'm not going to say anything completely inflammatory just because I'm 22. I mean, do you know what I mean? So,
well, I think you just get better at being a good bandmate the older you get. Whereas whenever you're young, like, and you hear Metallica saying this kind of thing as well, they're like, yeah, like we used to just be dicks to each other and be like, oh, there's only 3 meal tokens, so go fuck yourself,
Yeah, and I think that
that's the thing that you grow up a lot more about the idea that you want everybody to be happy instead of there being a couple of people who are sitting being unhappy, because you guys are the same as us. If people leave the band, part of you when someone leaves the band is going, are they leaving because we're dicks, or
Well, I think that with Primordial especially, like we have always had the kind of core of the same 3-4. Simon joined '97, Mick was there for 21 years, and so we prided ourselves on not really chopping and changing too much. And the idea that you could say the worst and the best stuff to your mates and never held it, was never held against you, kind of thing, was quite important. But yeah, you're right. You learn to like, say there's a song on the new album called Cold to Kununos, which is like the simple song that was written in 20 minutes. And he just goes, Curtis goes, no, 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 no. I stop, and then you call back the riff to me with the lyric. Oh, okay. And I wrote the lyric on the spot because I knew exactly what he meant as this simple pagan sort of song. And then he's like, that's it, go. And it was done in 20 minutes. But now, if that was 25 years ago, I probably would have put in something. He's like, what's this thing we're trying to barb into the
poke in here,
So, but like, could you see yourself, like, if somebody said, hey, once you as a session musician into this, and would you want to have songwriting credits and that kind of stuff? I quite enjoyed it. Like, I did it, me and on that man song with Adam from Behemoth, and he sent me the music, which I think is a great song, but I wrote the lyrics and arranged the vocal stuff and went in and recorded that, and that was really interesting thing to do.
It's definitely nice stepping out of the box,
as
I said, but I don't know. It does feel like one of those things that the older you get in life, like the more you get aware of being all like, right, okay, I have to try and concentrate on things that I haven't done that I'd like to do, like, And
why do you feel that you haven't got the time to do that? Let's say projecting 12 months ahead, with you've got GAMA BOMB, gone doing stuff and everything, but you don't feel you like 80s pop music and stuff. Do you not think, oh, maybe I could try and make? Have you ever tried to just make a pop song?
Oh no, I have a huge backlog of that, man. Like, I've probably about 2 albums worth of things that are kind of, I would imagine, somewhere in between like Big Country and Tears for Fears style, kind of 80s music. And like me and Philly have done a bit of that sort of stuff together and written about that, written lyrics and stuff. But I don't know, it always feels like what we keep saying in GAMA BOMB is we're going to do the GAMA BOMB solo album where instead of it being like an album each, we'll just make one album where there'll be 2 songs by every one of our side projects or whatever. Look,
would that work? Or you mean like a digital album that was like introducing everybody's things that they're doing or something?
Not really. I guess it's just more of a fucking. It's been something that we've done for so long outside of the band. We've, Damo's been making bluesy rock music. Philly's been making sort of Brian Ferry type music. John's been making death metal. We've all kind of have different hats to wear, but I guess we're always like so concentrating what's the next thing to do with GAMA BOMB that, But one of the things I would say is this time around we made an album and then wrote another 8 songs and recorded them. So we have most of the next record done. So it's probably not going to be as big of a slog, but something that we want to really try and do. You'll probably appreciate this, man. Doing videos these days is such a fucking pain in the arse, man. And like, I don't feel as if you get a good reward out of it, like, I would way rather do one thing than do like 2 or 3 videos, like, you know.
I mean, the last Primordial video, the one we put least amount of effort in. Well, the first one was all the costumes and all the stuff, and it did well. But the last one has got really, really big numbers, so much that the label were like had a sort of meeting going, what is going on? Why does this have so many numbers? And it's to do with the thumbnail, just black metal. This thumbnail is me like in it with a noose,
Yep.
just this with corpse paint on. And that whatever that aesthetic is, people just click, 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 click. It's bizarre. It's like a thumbnail thing. And this video was done for 20% of the outlay of the first one, but it has already twice the views. I pretend to understand why something, I don't know why something works or doesn't work anymore sometimes. But the videos, I find them, this time around, I find them less tedious than the previous time. But
okay.
I'm not, I like a video of Exile Amongst the Ruins, for example, when we're all dressed as I'm an English soldier and stuff. I enjoyed the process, but I find that we do the same thing, same thing. I don't mind it, but maybe it's because you're just a cog in the wheel of how it's moving. You're not behind the camera. Maybe,
I don't know. I think that's probably our problem with it, is because we direct and do all that kind of stuff ourselves. It's more of a like, right, let's all go and spend a weekend going and doing this, and you're just like a bit like, I don't really know if this is like, everybody's fan base changes as they get older and stuff like that. And I think there's like our fan base are probably more, we want to listen to it on Spotify or buy it in vinyl, and we're not as interested in watching videos on YouTube.
maybe we're past the demographic where it makes sense for the age of our fans, because this is one of the big realizations in the last couple of years with Primordial is we are now old. We are, well, we're middle-aged. There was a moment where we were bright, young, exciting things at 30 who were, there was a sort of swell of interest around people who are the same age as us. But we're older now. So are you really going to capture the visual aesthetic that drives the algorithm for 20-somethings at this age? The answer is no. So it's a promotional tool that I at least try and be involved, or at least get into the artistic aesthetic to some degree. Like the first one, we're all dressed up and all the stuff. And that was cool, and we took a big interest in how it worked. But at the same time, then you're sending it off to whoever filmed it to edit. You're not doing the editing. So when you make an album, you're mixing the bass tone. For this, you're just going, okay, I trust. This time,
I hope you're going to do a good job.
Yeah. So this stage, it was my friend Killian, and he did a great job. So just like about it. And
okay, cool.
That's a difficult thing sometimes because yourself, band members are used to being in the process of mixing or not. And so a video is such a completely different thing. And they go, oh, maybe can we change the speed back to normal speed, all the slow motion bits? And you're like, well, do you understand if it's not slow-mo, that shortens the content in the video by 1.5 minutes, and he has to troll through 4 hours of footage to find another, all these 10-second clips to make up.
In.
Yeah. Oh, right. And if somebody goes, oh, right. It's, you know what I mean? It's like there's so many other ripple effects
considerations,
of a thing when you go, oh, like change the color. Oh, then you have to go in and change the grade and filter, and So
how did you find touring, man? Because this is probably same as us. This is probably the first time you've been out for more than a week, really, in a while, is it?
Well, no, we did a tour just as the pandemic ended. We did 3 weeks with Swallow the Sun.
Okay.
So, but this was the first time we supported a band in about 12 years, 11 years. We'd always headlined it. So it was great. Like just to walk on stage, everything is set up. We had, you have crew, everything. You just pick up your in-ears, stick them in, walk on stage, play 55 minutes. I would have liked to play a little bit longer, but no, it's great.
Well, here, come on, 55 is pretty dead on for a support, man. Like that's
no.
You don't really get that long at all.
No, it's great, but I like to play longer, but it was great. No, it was awesome, and like 800 to 1,300 people a night. Loads of people. And
did you find any difference in the body or the mind going away? Like, did you find it was harder on the voice, or did you?
No, easier because it was only 55 minutes, and also generally I'm these days trying to hit the A by 1 or 2 a.m. latest. You pull a few 4 or 5 a.m.s, but I'm not up till 8 a.m. singing Hell's Bells anymore, and pushing it too far. And so no, I thought the voice was fine. I'm at 55 minutes. The last gig, I had a few where it's supposed to come out. It's like a bit croaky, but other than that, no, I think it was fine. And also, the you can learn stuff from Paradise Lost, a band like that, too. You're just so passionate about what they're doing. But
It's
not,
weird though, isn't it? Because like I guess whenever you see a legacy band like that who are from, a couple of blips before
yeah,
you guys or us guys, they have a totally different stage persona, don't they? Like as in they have such a less is more approach to,
what do you mean by that?
stagecraft, whereas like bands like us or you guys, there's still a bit of a you have to try and put as much energy into the show as you
Yeah,
can.
yeah. I mean, Nick said to me a couple of times, he goes, will you put some more fucking effort in? Just taking the piss out of me because I was flinging myself around and just fucking,
Yeah.
that's the thing that we do. And so we
And
sit
that's the thing. That's probably the thing I don't like about Paradise Lost the
there.
most is like the kind of the lyric pad and the just the it's just it is very singular, isn't it? Like the vocals, like there's
Well,
not really a lot of moving about. You get
I,
some, like, but
it depends. No, I mean, it depends. I mean, I like them live. I mean, as you know, I would defend Nick with that because, as you said, he's written 200 and something songs and he has the pad in front of him at the bottom. But I mean, I put lyrics, write them out, put them on the drum kit, and every now and again I go, huh, and I have to look back at the words. And I mean, I've written 200 songs at least with April Men, Twilight, Dogs, Stress Heaven, and my brain is scrambled eggs sometimes. And all it is when you remember the first word. So sometimes with the new songs,
yep.
like my brain is going because I'm looking at everybody all the time, scanning the crowd, looking at people. Somebody looks at you because you see them, and my brain just goes, "Oh, look at that!" Because I'm like fucking goldfish, you know what I mean? And then I go, "Oh."
Back in the day, man, about I guess like from 10 years ago and whatever from the start of the band, I would occasionally have to fill in for Philly because he would, not be able to sing for one
Yeah,
reason or whatever. But I always found exactly the same thing. If you put the first line of the verse, you'll get it
first
from
word.
there.
Yeah, the first word, the most
That's all you
important comes
need
out.
is you need a prompt like that.
Yeah, and the older you get, obviously, as we talked about this back to the beginning of the conversation, we talk about Virgin Steel. The days when Primordial was rehearsal was every Saturday, 2 to 6, or back in the day. And like you only learn songs through muscle memory. So some of the songs on the new Primordial album, I didn't rehearse them. And there's a few which is Nothing New Under the Sun and Pilgrimage to the World's End are one take singing, which I sat down with my pad the day before and went, "This is what I'm going to sing," and it just worked, and you just rolled through
Yeah.
it. And I was like, "That's it, that's good." But that means you sang it once, twice, 3 times in the studio. So then you'd have to sing it live. It's not in your head yet. So
Well,
like
your man, Gene
Kieran would be like,
Holden
"No, but
said
hang
that.
on."
He said,
But
"Go on."
Kieran would be like, "What? You must know your own words." And I go, "Yeah, but dude, you played this guitar riff in the studio, recording it 50, 60 times, and you wrote the riff. I just entered the conversation with my blah, 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 my blah, blah, blah. And now, because my brain is so, um, middle-aged Swiss cheese, I need to sing this fucking 20 times for it's in there. But I've only sang it 3 times. Then you're on tour and you're having, well, like, so yeah, the little piece of paper on the floor which goes, oh, there's the first word. So, I mean,
Well, I suppose is it like if you have long songs, man,
oh yeah.
it's not as easy to be like, boom, here's the cue when the
No,
verse
no,
comes in.
and also when people know the words and they're like this, it's like this. People take it, obviously, it's so extremely serious and it means X amount of money. If you fuck up the verse that they've been waiting to hear for that thing they want to sing along, like Alice, and you go, you're going to get it if you go down to the merch stand afterwards. They're going to be like, fuck
Yep.
you for fucking up.
But you know what? Like we've talked about this
And you know what? They're
a
right
little
though.
bit before, in the sense that a lot of people mightn't realize this, but if you go to Germany, occasionally after gigs, people will give you negative reviews of your concert. They
Yeah,
will come up to you
they
and be
come and
like,
find you.
"Excuse me, I have actually something very important to tell you."
Alan, I get this a lot. I get, Alan, you have sang the second verse of Gallows Hymn. You have said brother instead of sister. But I am with my sister. She's waiting for, this is her favorite line of the song. And you have like, it's a fucking
You have to
display.
imagine this as being spat into your ear as well as
Oh,
spoken.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Over,
imagine that there's about a spit going in with every line here.
yeah. But I get it and I understand it. And it makes you try and do better. So this tour definitely,
Yeah.
I was determined to, do. You're determined always to do as good as possible, but certainly, um, it's a combination of things. I mean, which is you have to understand that you're older and you're a bit, but you also have a bit more responsibility. The voice is different, the age is different, the body is different. But also, if there's 800 people there and they've paid in to see this, and you just go, "Fuck it, what the fuck is the what?" And you could just write it out and put it on the drum thing, and instantly you just go, "Oh!" And all I want to know is the first word. So I get it, but for a band like Paradise Lost, I mean, like their first demo was what, Nuclear Abomination, 88, 87,
Yeah.
and you're around those guys, and like except for the drummer Matthew Archer, who like quit '93, it's the same guys, and it's a beautiful thing. They just are these old mates who just are
Going to
up
do
in
it,
this thing
having a
together, and
laugh.
yeah, still just like good mates hanging out, and but that's a really like because you know what it's like. You've been on tour with some bands, and you can tell they are fucking. They either don't want to be there, they don't like each other. They
Yep.
get pissed and they confide in you, going, "I don't fucking like him," blah blah blah. You know, but when you're around a bunch of people who are actually, oh, these people are actually genuinely,
Enjoying what to do. And you
yeah,
know what? Like the thing that you say about Paradise Lost is that, like, especially over the last like 10 years, they're in a situation where they're selling out the kind of those kind of venues.
yeah. I mean, they just sold out. Dublin was 850.
Totally. And like I could totally imagine a time whenever they do their farewell tour, they could play the Olympia and sell it out as well. Like,
No doubt, no doubt. And also, like I was asked to do an article. I must find it somewhere. We can talk about it. Actually, we could we could do a contrasting thing. The top 20 most influential metal albums of all time. And
all right, okay.
Artist Lost Gothic was like, to me, number 12 or 11.
There's a lot of ones that I think would be in there that you wouldn't consider. Things like Toys in the Attic by Aerosmith or like Kiss albums. Now, you might say
That's not
is that
heavy metal, though, is
heavy
it?
rock or heavy metal? I don't know. When would you consider what's a heavy metal album? Anything from 1980 onwards or
Yeah, probably 80. From British Steel on, I would say.
okay. Mm,
Although you could
yeah,
say,
well,
you could put Sad Wings of Destiny in there, but like,
I don't know, but then if you're gonna put that in, why would you not put in like, another album of a similarly heavy venture, like a Sabbath album
oh, yeah, of
or
course, no, of course you could put Sabbath, but
I don't know. Like I think what a big one for around then, I always talk about that being like, man, what are the albums that really, really kicked it off? Like, and I think that Blackout by the Scorpions and like there's a couple albums around then, like a Last in Line by Dio, Defenders of the Faith, Peace of Mind. Like those would be my
you
top
would pick
four
you
for
would
that
pick
era.
Last in Line over Holy Diver. I think Holy Diver is
Oh
more
yeah, big
influential,
time.
no?
Like I would definitely say Last in Line because
But no,
Last in Line is
but I
very
was trying
it's
to
much
say
more
not
nuanced.
how good things are, but how influential they are.
Yeah, but
Different
influences.
question,
It's such a everybody was at the Sex Pistols show in fucking Manchester Free Trade Hall, apart
of
from
course. Yeah,
everyone. Like so
yeah,
it's hard to say. Like with like we're looking back on it now. There's bands like Violence who, as you said, only sold 20 or 30,000 copies of
which
a
is pretty
record in
good.
1990,
Yeah.
but now their influence is pretty big.
Um, hang on, wait a second.
One
Yeah,
ahead.
it's interesting, like because I like to do other things with other people, and Kieran says to me sometimes, "Oh, I'd love to make a solo album." This and that. I go, "Well, all it takes is the first punt, like the first push out, and then you go, all right, let's see." I mean, I made the Vermin a Serpent album during lockdown, and you just sort of keep wanting to do something else, something a bit different, something try and
I like
push.
doing things that add a bit of a an arrow to your quiver in that sense. Like I did a record there recently playing guitar for my mate. He's got
Oh
like
yeah, yeah,
a 90s sort of style type O type band or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah. I listened to that. Yeah, I
But
mean the big problem. Yeah, I mean, all right, so go on. Yeah,
no, well, I was gonna say like that was just one of those things where you're like, see, trying to do something like slightly outside of the box or something also that'll exercise ideas from your mind. So say like you're gonna go in and start writing a Primordial album, but actually there's a bunch of Dread Sovereign riffs getting in the way, like
yeah. That would for me at least it would never be like that because Dress Over and I sit with the bass and I have the ideas, and it's because it's the lyrical themes are so completely different and so completely other it's complete, how we say, escape from the parameters of Primordial. I can write about literally anything. And so I feel completely sort of, Dress Over is like my, sort of evil rock and roll alter ego, but it's still got some seriousness, but I'm allowed to play with the aesthetics and the theme.
I
And
feel like
I
the
get to
hat
write
is a big part of it, though. Like,
what?
the hat is a big part of it, man. Like, that's how you can differentiate between the two.
What do you mean the hat?
As in your hat. Whenever you're playing
Ah,
with whenever you're playing with Fred Sovereign, you have a wee hat on. Like, you've got
that's
your
true. Yeah, yeah.
what I describe as a North Korean irregular hat.
Yeah, yeah, you're totally right. Yeah, yeah. I sometimes I mean, that's one of the big, when I sit in the backstage with Dress Over, and I think, which hat will I wear? That,
And it's always the same idea. It's a North Korean green hat that you
I
would
tell you
find
what,
there.
the last
North
Dress
Korean.
Over gig was at a festival in Italy, and we decided not to bring any instruments because the luggage was too expensive. And I just went, uh, I saw a picture and I go, like, okay, give me a guitar. And there was a death metal band from Italy, and there was a girl playing the bass, and she was tiny, and she gave me this massive BC Rich, like massive. It wasn't an old BC Rich, so it wasn't like a nice BC Rich, but it was not bad. Like, because I play a Rico, like the old BC Rich, but the strap wouldn't. I couldn't make the strap go down, so it was like just a bit too. Just sat on my middle-aged punch. God damn it, cannot make the thing go lower, whatever. But then I went, maybe I just need to bring this old fucking. Sometimes I worry about bringing such an expensive instrument, like and putting it through airports and blah, blah, and I go, but why do you have it if you don't bring it?
Well, there's the whole idea of like I've got a red Charvel bass that I've been playing for years, and I now have a version of it that looks exactly the same that I use for gigging, and I just keep the other one at home.
Really? I mean,
Yeah.
well, the guitar I have, and I probably told people this in the podcast, but it's a 1979 Rico. So it's like, it's a very, like, it's fucking ancient, and it's worth now on eBay, like, you see them for 4 or 5 thousand euro. I paid like two
See,
thousand.
there's the issue with it is right. Okay, so that's $1 worth.
Yeah,
But say you went to go and do a gig in Greece and it just got lost by the
yeah,
airlines and you
exactly.
ended up getting
Yeah,
£1,000
that's what they
compensation.
offer. Yeah,
Yeah, but
it
like
breaks my
how
brain
easy is it
thinking
going to
about it.
be for you to go and get a new one of those?
You
Probably
can't,
not that easy.
but you
So
can't. And the story about it is, I don't know if I ever told in the podcast before, but I always wanted that. It's just sitting here. I should illustrate this by grabbing it, even though that seems like a cunt thing to do. I'm going to do it anyway. But so I always wanted that because of it. It's like a Megadeth '83 style. When I was a kid, that was the guitar that you saw like Dave Mustaine playing. The 8 string, but he took the 4 string or 6 strings off, whatever. You know what I mean? 12 string. You're looking at me like, you know what I mean?
no. I remember, yeah, the 12 string with
So anyway,
the strings off.
an lad brought this into the some neck guitars, which if you're in Dublin, some neck guitars is amazing. Owen is awesome. The guy who runs it.
It's on the north side nowadays, isn't it?
It's no, it's still on the south side. It's near it's down near the Liberties, near Christchurch.
Hmm.
It's some
Yeah,
neck.
that's
Yeah,
where it
it's
is.
just if you're visiting Dublin, go there. It's fucking brilliant. Anyway, he is a gentleman, and he fixes sometimes resets Primordial stuff and guitars and everything like this every now and again. And he lent me pedals just to go and record. And anyway, that's not the point. So I always wanted that guitar, and my mate Rob from Vomitor, he's like, "Yeah, mate, that fucking guitar you wanted." Because the tattoo shop was around the corner and he was doing tattoos. He goes, "Yeah, came into the shop this morning. I went round for a fucking coffee. It's fucking sitting there, mate. You better get round here fucking quick." So Primordial just played Friday before, and this old guy had come in with this old case and said, "My son used to rehearse in the '80s in the attic, and we renovated the house to sell it, and we took out the water, whatever, cistern at the top. We found a guitar case behind the water cistern." And he goes, "It hasn't been opened since '91." And he opened it, and it was that bass.
Lovely.
And he called his son, so the story goes. And the son went, "Oh, just sell the fucking." So he brings it into some neck, and they're like, "Fucking hell, all right, okay." So they gave him like, I don't know, whatever, 1,500. So I went in, and they were like, "It's going in the window for 3 or whatever it is. But if you buy it now I'll give you it for 2." So I had old Primordial's merch money in an envelope in my pocket from the night before. It just happened to be like 2-2. I went, here you go.
Enough money for exactly one of those, and then Eddie Rockets.
Yeah. And the guy was like, oh, okay, fair enough. And he goes, you need to thank me on the next album. I was like, all right, deal. And just that's what I brought home, 1979 Rico. And then I gave it to the guy to fix the electrics, and he said, this is the most complicated guitar I've ever fixed. I had to download.
They're great guitars, the 80s BC Riches,
oh,
man.
They're
like,
better.
Especially those
like this
colored ones. That's before they started mass producing them as well.
Oh, but this is the 70s one. So this is handmade. So like, see the bridge? It's like, it says badass. So it's like
no, that bridge is a late 80s bridge, a badass bridge. But
no, the guy who
best bridge you can buy, a badass bridge.
The guy who fixed it said to me, this is the most complicated guitar to fix electronics of ever. And he's like, then he traced the serial number. He's like, it's 1979, yeah, handmade, blah, blah.
I think what a beautiful guitar you're making such awful music with.
Oh, and the thing is, like, I was such a butcher, and I was like, but it made me try and play at least. I went from a 2 out of 10 to a competent 4, maybe a.
What sort of picks do you use?
If I say what, I mean, but like, it's a totally different thing between when you're writing lyrics Primordial and coming in and going, okay, I say to Kieran, all right, this riff, Paul has a riff, and they go, remember that thing from 6 years ago, or 8 years ago, or 10 years ago, the thing that goes, is that, and maybe we could put that with that, and so we still meet in the room and like,
yeah, we do that as well. Like every album that we do, we'll do like basically 2 briefings. So what we'll do is like write like
define a brief,
7 or 8 demos and fire them back and forth. And then we'll all get together for like 4 days down in like my mum's house or here, and sit about and drink beers and like try and refine the songs. And then we'll go away off and write some more demos and fire them back and forth, and then do the same thing again. Like, so it means that basically everybody's always going to be in the same page. Because like the thing that we found in the past was you could make tons of progress on an album, as in writing songs individually or as 2 people or 3 people. But you would always end up actually really annoying somebody. And you were way better off trying to, from the very, very get-go, from the first song.
What do you mean annoying somebody? Like,
well, like, as in, if me and Philly were making loads of progress and had written, like, say, 10 of the 12 songs that were going to be on an album,
sure,
you know, you're going to end up annoying the other 2 guitar players who would like to be more involved.
Okay,
you know?
I see what you mean. Yeah.
So you're better off having, the more voices you have, I think, anyway, the better the result is. So
when you write riffs, how does that process go? Like, what do you do?
So we have a song called Shere Khan, which is like on the last record, and it's kind of like a kind of mid-80s type Saxon.
Yeah, you have more songs. You have more songs like this on the new one. The link you
sent. Because I think that's the idea. Is like, you know, you're assuming that if people,
there's a whole album I actually listened to it.
There you go, man. See where
I've sold it to Metal Enterprises though. So.
Oh damn. They're gonna have their own airbrushed version of it. Yeah,
I got my dad to record improvised spoken word vocal over the whole thing. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Go on.
I can't even remember what we were talking about before I started.
About the riffs when you were
oh yeah, right. Okay, so we have a song called Shere Khan, right? And the riff came about.
This whole bottle of wine, by the way. That is what's going to happen.
The riff came about because I'm going to finish my last. I have another 1 whole beer here. So
it's the Castle of the Devil. I mean, you can't argue.
Castle Diablo, which is, if anyone out there is a red wine drinker, you'll instantly know what a moron this man is.
I think it's a pretty good one.
It's fine.
I mean, it's from Chile. I like Chile as a country.
Chile. It's quite chilly out there. Anyway, so we have the song called Shere Khan, and I was reading about the guy from the Manic Street Preachers who jumped off the bridge.
Richie.
And it was on the
modern cultural reference, I know.
Woo! I was on the Wikipedia page and I was reading about him.
People were sad, which I know also.
And then I was reading about that bridge, and then I started reading about other people who jumped off that bridge. And there's a guy from the 80s, Kim Wilde's dad, Marty Wilde, who did a song called Yeah Yeah, and it goes da 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 da. I say yeah yeah. Do you know that song?
No, is it? It sounds like a sort of Jonathan King sort of special.
That sort of vibe, anyway. But anyway, that's how that riff came about, because it goes and that riff goes Anyway,
Did
so that's.
oh,
But I think that's how things get influenced. You could be sitting about watching, a shite program or watching or listen to something about, like an audio book about something happened in the past, and you
it
can just
depends.
get
I mean, like
influenced by
say,
anything.
sometimes what I do is when I make songs on the bass or something, um, like I think about this is going to sound a bit weird for people, but I think about the notes, and I'm not playing the guitar, so maybe I think about the notes, 11, 13, 14, 2, 3, blah blah blah, and I write them on my phone in a shorthand of numbers, but I don't actually play the guitar. So I may be on the train or something, and I've been thinking about, say, transmissions from the Devil's Star or whatever these end of for doing the bell tolls or songs or, and I think about the notes, how they sound, and I think about well, this could be, and so I write it all down in this bizarre shorthand, and then I take the guitar when I go home and play the bits. So sometimes I write the riffs without the guitar at all.
So apparently, this is
Maybe that
an
sounds mental.
important story. Whenever Madonna was at some MTV Music Awards, or it must have been American Music Awards, it was the early 80s. She was talking to Michael Jackson, and she was talking about how annoying it was. Basically, all the people who had produced her earlier albums, she was kind of having to sleep with them to
Mm.
make things happen, or same with kind of the musicians or whatever in the band. But anyway, she said that Michael Jackson said to her, "Listen, you don't need any of this. What you need is a dictaphone." And he was all
Yeah.
like, "All you need to do is whatever you think is a cool bass line, go bit, 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 bit,
Yeah, yeah,
bit, and then hire the best bass player in town and get him to play it, and
yeah,
do the same with the drums. And all of
yeah.
a sudden, you have an amazing song that you
Oh,
wrote. You can't play any musical instrument, but if you can, hire the right people, or if you know what you're doing, you can do it. You know,
my good friend Rob from Vomitor, one of the most fucking metal dudes you've ever met, but an awesome dude. He once, like, we are all like bombed out of our head at about 8 in the morning. He put on Vomitor, Bleeding the Priest, and like proceeded to head airbang in front of
right?
us.
He stuck on his own album, did he?
Yeah, and we're like, come on, man. He goes,
Okay.
and he's like, fuck off. I play it because I love it, because I want to fucking hear it. Fuck you. And we're like, yeah, go for it. We're talking about how you write songs. And he goes, shut the fuck up. And he turned off the music and he took out his phone and he played it in my ear and it went, he goes, here's the fucking riff, mate. And so he hears a, he just goes, I was like, fucking hell. And then he played a song that's inspired by that. I was like, fuck, that is the song.
Sounds
So
like that.
I don't quite do that, but I have recorded like whoa, 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 whoa into my phone. Or sometimes I pick up my acoustic guitar and I put the phone on and I just go, I just make riffs into the phone and I write them names. So for the next Dread Sovereign, there's 17 voice notes in my other iPad of random acoustic guitar riffs that I will make into songs. But sometimes I don't play the guitar at all. I just write numbers.
So would you like? This is a weird thing to say because we're in quite a thrash metal box that you
Yeah.
have to we want to abide by our rules, but you guys are not in that box. Would you not consider doing an acoustic album, like
Who?
just Primordial?
I don't know. That's really up to Kieran.
But is it not something that's within your oeuvre,
Yeah,
as I say?
totally. It totally is, but it's up to Kieran if he wants to do it. I mean, Kieran does enough. Like he grabs an album by the scruff of the neck and he goes, "We've got 3 months. There's a deadline for the studio," and he just literally will come into the studio in the morning and he's been there already 3 hours. The song is written out on the
Yep.
big board, and you look at it, and you'll go, okay. And then nobody, you're allowed to rub a bit out and change it and go, how about if we change the key or we change whatever? But he works overtime already and everything. And I go, oh, we can do acoustic album. And he goes, okay, what are you gonna do? Like Burning Season, a 9 minute song, which you have to condense into an acoustic format? Because I watched once upon a time.
I don't think you necessarily have to do that,
Well,
man.
let me
Because
say this. Let me
I
say
think
this.
you guys have you could do a moodscape where you could
Yeah,
do
we totally
long
could.
pieces, and it wouldn't be a big
We
deal.
totally could. But I remember once, Slough, Lord Weird Slough, greatest heavy metal band of the noughties, in my opinion. Um, Amazing if you never checked them out. But they were doing an acoustic gig in the basement of the guy's record shop in Dublin. And I went down to see Mike and all the guys, and they were trying desperately to work out their own songs in acoustic. And I went, everyone is just giving them this huge like endeavor to do. Like trying to do it, like acoustic stuff is the hardest thing to do because it's the most bare thing to do.
But like, I think if you're a band like them or like even Megadeth or whatever, where it's so riff based, whereas like, right, okay, you guys have a lot of stuff that is extremely heavy and riff based, but there's so much, you know, there's room for soundscapes. You know, you
Yeah,
could definitely get away with doing a whole bunch of stuff.
no, you're
You know,
totally right, but it takes what that would take is like an
it's
awful
all to
lot of
be on pension age.
it would take an awful lot of preparation and sort of basically that is a thing that someone who is a professional musician who is making a living from playing music has time to work out for a couple of weeks. But because Primordial isn't that, I can't say to Kieran, hey, should we do like an acoustic coffin ships and this, that, the other? I mean, once you tread into acoustic territory, it can be a disaster. It can. It has
Yeah,
the
but I think that's why you should either put both feet in or not at all. Like, you know,
I think well, so far it's not at all because I think it's tread warily with acoustic music because it's so like it's like say okay, this is going to probably but whoever's listening to this now after enough hours, like good luck to you, but like King Dude or something like this, you know, uh, the masters of this kind of music. Like it's very easy to be a bad death metal band, right? Or a bad thrash metal band, not bad but average, and just like do okay, and you're like you get some energy out and whatever. But acoustic stuff, you're being held to such an incredible standard, at least artistically, whether it's Townsend Zant or Hank Williams or like you can't just make bad acoustic country. You just can't do that because the bar is
yeah,
and
well, like that's the whole thing is like you're
the
taking away
opportunity to
all the
the,
support of distortion and loudness
exactly
and
exactly
being
the
like, right, okay, let's get to the message of what actual the lyrics and the chords of this
yeah
song are. You know?
exactly the ability to be awful is just you've turned the volume up times 10. And if you don't have the like, and if you do you see what I mean? Like, I think
Oh
it's
no, I absolutely see what you mean, but I think that you guys have a nerd ability to be able to go and broaden the musical landscape. So you
yeah,
could.
you're right. I
I'm not
think
saying you need to get a keyboard player, but there's a whole bunch of instrumentalists that you could get to support you and make it sound kind of cool. But
I
you
think
know,
that
this is one of these things that like I think that
I think I should get myself maybe a trophy wife who plays the keyboard and get her in the band.
and you could upgrade your hat. See, that's the thing is like that's how people would know that things were different. If you had Richie Blackmore has the 17th century, I would say lute man hat. Is that a phrase? Is it?
What do we
Well,
think
you
about
know what?
this?
Look at this. This is this. Jesus, wow.
This
Now
is
you look really, really Manic Street Preachers now. Do I not have any hats that I can put on up here now? Don't I think.
this is like
Hat free since '93.
this is like some sort of Chinese. Okay, well, it doesn't really fit my head actually, but this does fit my head. Um, and so let's wear this maybe.
It was always going to end this way, wasn't it?
I have so many hats here. What do you think about that?
Well, like you know, you wouldn't want to jump into a trench with a fellow like that, would you?
But look at this.
Wow, it comes off.
Yeah,
So you could theoretically store drugs there if you're going through an airport. People would say he just has an innocent Kaiserite helmet about him. You
it's a
know,
good point. I mean, but
have you tried to take the chin strap down and attach it? No.
here's the thing. Wait a second.